What a bag of comics!
Comic fam, we got a fun video for you today. Hit the subscribe button. I'm sitting here with the comic book sensei, Russ, because I need your help, man.
Okay.
I need your help because we're talking about comic books, and I have a comic haul that we got to do right here, right now, because I have a homie who's got a bunch of family in Russia, and I think you know who we're talking about.
We do. We are talking about Slav, our great friend who does video editing for us. Yeah, he has family in Russia, and that very clearly is Cyrillic writing on the side of that bag.
Okay, this right here, he brought into my house about 5 months ago. He's like, yo, I just got back from Russia. He went back to visit, and his mom kept his comic books from when he was a kid. These are like, you know, been in a room under a bed for like 20 years plus.
Sure.
And she kept them. And then, you know, what are you going to do with them? You got to put them in a bag. So it's this like market bag. It look comic fam. It looks rough. It's not pretty. It's kind of like a graveyard in here.
Right. However many comics we can cram into a Bila shopping bag.
But this is what we're going to do. Shout out to Key Collector Comics because it's these types of moments that I recommend using this application. It's available on both Android and iPhones. And what you can do is you can look up titles and you can find approximate worth, and it excludes the comics that aren't really worth money so that it saves you time when you're looking at a situation like this.
Right.
So we're going to go through, we're going to utilize Key Collector, but I don't want to fake stuff because between us both, we basically have Key Collector up here.
Sure.
So we're going to make this video a little bit faster. We're going to go through some of the sorting ourselves as dealers, but then we're also going to check Key Collector, see what these key books have to say, see if we learn anything together. All right, man. So probably the best thing to do is to just, let's sort. Let's empty and sort and see what we got.
Ooh, well, we've got some winners here.
Oh, geez. All right. So I have it. Oh, look at this. We got artwork. Ooh, original artwork.
Original Slav artwork.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. So for real, I haven't seen these, comic fam. He brought these back and I was like, I should look through them and see if there's anything here. And I told him too, I'm like, yo, if there's something worth here, like money, if there's a Spidey 300 or something, I'll make sure you get it. Comic fam, he's not a big comic dude. This is like when he was a kid. So I doubt there's something big. But if there is, I'm going to hook my friend up and we're going to give it back to him. But we're going to go through this for the first time. I've never seen these comics. Oh my gosh. And we have like, we're not going to be able to tell what coverless comics these are. But you know what we do have, dude? We have evidence.
Oh my gosh, the 3-hole punched versions. Oh.
Yep, this is a binder here. Our friend had a binder at one point. Okay, so how about we do this?
Sad.
Let's move these around. And if it's like for sure something not worth looking up, we'll put them over to the left. And then if you find something fun, we'll stop. Maybe we'll stop. You know,
those Sonic books are awesome. I mean, not worth a whole ton. The lower numbers, I'm hitting a pocket of Sonic.
Okay.
Cool. Ooh, we almost have a run.
Okay, I'm looking for something more special than. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Look at this. Millennium issue #1. Solid dollar bin book.
Absolutely.
Hey, and you know what's very interesting here? It's in like a solid fine condition, and I'm surprised being that it was living in this grocery bag and traveled across the world to get here. I don't think that's a major key, though.
No, it's not.
Okay, let's just keep it going. Oh, snap. War Machine issue #2, but it has the cards on the interior.
Ooh, that does have the cards on the interior, and they are barely hanging on by a single staple.
Okay, so we're going to keep going.
All of these Silver Surfer books have the potential. I mean,
First Tyrant cover.
Right.
Yeah. What's the grade on that, though? Because it looks like it's got a very rough bottom. That sounds weird, too. Rough bottom.
It appears very fine near mint, and then you look at this bottom corner, and yeah, you're actually probably looking at a fine.
What book are we talking about?
This Silver Surfer #82, first cover appearance of Tyrant.
There we go.
Anything shiny is pretty.
That's right. We have a lot of Sonic in here.
We actually, okay, all
right.
What is it? Spectacular Spider-Man 38, which is a fantastic cover appearance of Morbius. And this one's actually in pretty good condition.
Cool book, Morbius appearance. I love this cover. Mm-hmm. Oh, dude, right there.
Right. So
is that Newsstand?
This is fantastic. This is a Newsstand version, right?
I don't think I've ever just like had a Newsstand version of that comic book. What are we looking at here?
This is Darker Image #1, and this was kind of those one-shot things that Image Comics did to show you 3 different characters. One was the Max, one was Blood Wolf, and one was Deathblow. Now, the really interesting thing about this is that Deathblow was co-created between Jim Lee and Brandon Choi, who also created The Grifter. who's someone that we just talked about on our top 10 trending list this week. So there's a good chance that if DC is deciding to use the grifter, they could pull out a character like Deathblow, which is another fantastic Jim Lee character, and do something with it.
Okay, take a look at this, man. All right, you pull up Key Collector Comics, you go to search, you search by the title, and you type in Darker Image #1, and we're seeing like a $3 average high sale for this issue because it is the first like 8-page story featuring the Max. A lot of people consider this to be the first appearance. You know, there's a handful of covers that people really put up as key worthiness for this run. But here's the thing. You click the bottom right and you have a variant list of this comic book. And what do you see here? Darker Image #1, Newsstand. The Newsstand has the barcode on the bottom.
Right.
$15 average sales on the high. How's the grade on that?
Probably a very fine near mint.
How? How is it a very fine near mint after all that travel?
Well, it could very well be.
It's like sandwiched or something?
Well, it was originally sold in a plastic bag, but I don't know if the Newsstand ones came in the plastic bag.
Interesting. All right. Well, we have to keep on looking. That's a win, dude.
I know.
Newsstand. That's so random. Hey!
This is a great one.
I love that book, dude.
I absolutely do. More people should care about the Great Lakes Avengers. They really, really should.
We're pulling that up, dude, because that's the first appearance of one of actually a really fun character that I like. His name is the Immortal Man. Do you remember what kind of conversations we were having about this character for a minute?
No.
I know it happened quick, but you know what? I'm going to pull this up on Key Collector because I know that this is going to be on there. We have West Coast Avengers. We're pulling up issue number 46. And here's a fun thing. When you pull up the title, you can go to the search by issue. Just type in 46. Boom, there it is. First team appearance of the Great Lake Avengers. Big Bertha, all right? And then we also have Flatman and Mr. Immortal, all right? Mr. Immortal. Do you remember back when we were reading Immortal Hulk and like all the spec was running wild? We were seeing a future where Bruce Banner was like Earth had imploded and there was like a rock drifting in space for what was thought to be the end of time. Well, the person that was like dead on that rock, like just the remains, were of
I remember, yes,
Mr. Immortal. Yep. So since then, it put me on this like quest to learn more about this character and his struggles of being someone who can't die, or seemingly can't die. And yeah, this is a cool book. And this is a minor key. You can find it for like $1. And right here, it says high sales of on average $4. But I'll tell you what, if anything happens with this comic, with this particular character, especially like in the Immortal Hulk run or something like that, this is dollar bin book that could spike up.
Definitely. That's going to be the one. Oh. Now, I wish we had one of these comic books here. We actually had the Maximum Carnage comic book. That is worth a pretty penny.
What we have here is an ad for it of another comic book.
A 3-hole punch single page. Yes.
Dude, we have gotten collections with like in so many different ways, you know, whether it's 3-hole punch binders, it was how it was presented, file folders, file cabinets, straight up. And you know what? This is still polybagged, but he opened it because he had to read it, dude. It was a good book. We have Spirit of Vengeance issue number 1.
Jeff brought me my first laminated comic. That was amazing. And someone actually had taken the cover off, laminated the cover, and then restapled it to the interior. Because that was the way you used to be able to preserve your vintage old comics. It's a Popa!
Dude!
We got a Pope comic book.
That is a very fun book to be in there because that's actually worth money. It's like a random one.
It is worth money.
It's like a $10 book, isn't it?
And yes, and Marvel Comics has even come out and said that this is probably one of the reasons that they have had such a good relationship with the Catholic Church in the past. Because absolutely no, I've got to find the source.
I've never heard of this. This is really random.
But Stan Lee was talking about how they were releasing something. I think they were releasing like a Christmas nativity comic, very small.
Okay.
Right. There were a couple of them, and the reason why they were able to release this was because they did such a good job doing this comic book and Mother Teresa of Calcutta. There were a couple very faith-based comic books that Marvel Comics did release, you know, in the 1980s.
All right, so the life of Pope. I'm going to look them up. I want to see if this is on Key Collector. We may have found one that doesn't pop up that I know is worth a little bit of money. Are we going to see the life of Pope John Paul II pop up? Doesn't look like it, but you know what? I'm going over to eBay to see what this book is selling for because this is one of those ones that I always would list back in the day. Whenever I got it, it would sell every damn time. Look at this. Auction sales, $8.50 for Marvel Comics.
That's on bids. It's not even, it's got 2.5 days left to go.
Dude, you can buy it now for $20.
Wow.
Well done, Slav. You're spec'd on the life of Pope John Paul. Why can't I say his name?
Yes.
Pope
John Paul the Second. Yep.
All right, Comic Fam, what do you think? Are we doing good so far? Let's keep it going. All right, take a look at this one, Russ.
Ooh, that's a great one. I love that Jim Lee cover.
Dude, it is a Jim Lee cover, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a Jim Lee cover. I actually didn't know that until just now.
Okay.
But so I pull up Key Collector, type in 257, and yeah, man, we have the first appearance of Psylocke as Lady Mandarin.
Now, this is why I love Key Collector as an app. Now, I knew this is her first appearance as Lady Mandarin, but the app very clearly says debut of Psylocke's psychic knife. And we know that we ended up seeing that in the movie, and that's been a very popular thing of Psylocke's character and persona. But the first time you get to see her knife in action, her psychic knife, is in this book.
And when you click through the comic on Key Collector, you actually get details of the book, and there it is, illustrated by Jim Lee. Fantastic. Dude, we're doing pretty good so far, man. Let's keep this going. I want to see if we find any more keys. All right, we got another X Factor key, the Horseman of the Apocalypse. And we have X Factor number 19. Tell me, what do you think about this book? It's like as far as the grade goes. Because right here is the second cover appearance of Apocalypse after I pulled it up on Key Collector. It's the first team cover appearance of the Horseman of the Apocalypse. And it goes average high sales about $10.
Okay, so, well, there's quite a few spine ticks, and pages are definitely closer to cream color. We got a little bit of foxing on the top here. Probably a very fine minus.
Okay, well, here we go. This is going to be a low-grade book. So we're dealing with something that's probably worth a couple bucks. Not crazy, but this is a common book. This is a book that's out there, and if you find a copy that's more respectable grade, VF near mint, yeah, they go for $10 and up. Pretty cool.
Very cool.
Random one to find in there.
Yep, absolutely.
All right, let's keep it going.
Oh, here's another great random one. And you know what? This may not be worth anything, and I don't think it's a key. We can definitely check on this, but I love these Mike Mignola covers. You know, Mignola ended up doing only a few covers for Incredible Hulk, and this is definitely a fantastic one.
All right, so when you get a new collection, Russ, let's chat about some of the first things we do. We try to pull out and organize them by what? Title, typically?
Sometimes it has to go so far as you separate them by publisher, and then you separate them by title, and then you do them alphabetically, and then you do them numerically. But it's generally a sort to a sort to a sort to a sort. A lot of the collections coming in now that I'm getting have fewer runs in them, and they end up being more single issues. You don't have to do as much of a deep sort, but when someone decides to get out of collecting, or sometimes they'll move to digital, or, you know, sometimes a family member passes away, if that person was a box customer at a shop, a lot of times you'll end up having these, it's a month, it's a month, it's a month, it's a month. So you'll have Superman 1, Batman 1, you know, Detective Comics 1, Spider-Man 1, and then next month it's Superman 2, Batman 2, Spider-Man 1, and then you kind of have to work on collating what that series was. But there's a lot of sorting and alphabetizing in our jobs.
In my experience, what happens is what you just said, that realization of all that work that you have to do, that's when the person who owns the collection goes, I don't want to deal with it. I'm just going to take this to a shop or sell it on Craigslist or something like that and let it go really cheap. So here's the thing. That's a deterrent for most people. But as you start to do this, you get experience going through these collections, you start remembering comics. You start utilizing Key Collector. You start learning over time. You can kind of do what Russ and I do. Dude, if this was just you and me, we would have gone through this in like 5 minutes, right? So let's actually now hyper go through this and just pull out ones we know are going to be hot books. Because I'm sitting here and like, okay, here we go. Boom, right? Like this is a book that I know is a minor key. And I know because I've gone through it. I also just pulled out an Iron Man 305. So let's actually just go through.
This one has made the list a couple times because of this character. I mean, you know, we know that one's hot. Again, love that Mignola cover.
Boom. Pull that one aside.
Fantastic. I mean, you know, just another Omega Red. Yeah,
okay,
absolutely.
So I want to look these up. So here, can you pull up on Key Collector as we pull those up? Boom. Iron Man 305. Now, I'm looking at a beat up Iron Man 305. This thing is trashed, all right? Could go through the press. You know what? It actually is a good press candidate because it's not stained. But this Iron Man 305, classic battle of the Hulk versus Iron Man wearing the Hulk Buster armor. Average high sales of $12, but near mint, this book goes for over $20.
Oh, absolutely. So I've got an X-Men number 5 here, and on the Key Collector app, I mean, we all know the Omega Red's on the cover, and we know his first full appearance is in number 4, but it's telling me that number 5 is first appearance of Maverick, who later becomes Agent Zero, and it's the second appearance of Omega Red. High sales of $10 on this book. So a lot of people who are kind of ignoring this 1991 Jim Lee X-Men series, these books are actually moving. Part of it is that the 90s kids want to reclaim their childhood, and part of it is that Omega Red is supposedly showing up in the future.
All right, this next one, Marvel Comics Presents. This is a book that I learned early in my collecting days because when you go through the Marvel Comics Presents run, there's not a lot of keys. No, this is a good one that you can find on Key Collector, scroll down, and you just got to know. Because when you hit just a handful of clicks down, you have Marvel Comics Presents 72, the book I'm holding. This is the ongoing Weapon X storyline. This is where it starts. And it's the origin of Wolverine and Weapon X, which ran through issues 84. So you have 72 to 84. There's a handful of other keys you got to know in this run. But here's the thing. There's like 12 total. And how many comics were in this run, dude? 170 something?
Oh, it's a ridiculous amount. And you've got the dual-sided ones later on, and you've got Ghost Rider, and you've got, those fantastic Sam Keith covers for Wolverine. A lot of price guides don't even show that this book is worth anything, and they end up selling for a good amount on the secondary market because of the Weapon X story.
That's right. Average sales of $12 on the high. And you know what's funny? I mentioned, what is the final comic in this run? Well, if I would have just scrolled down on Key Collector, I would have saw it was issue 175. I was close. Selling for $18. Oh, okay. What else? Was that it? Oh, what's this? A signed book? What is this doing in here?
Oh, that's crazy.
I don't think that was that must have been signed, handled, and then sent over.
Oh, you can see no, because this has the number. This would be one of those things that you would have got at the store. A lot of times.
Oh, dude, there's a cert.
There we go.
What is going on, dude?
Yep.
That's so funny. Explain
Ken
this.
Golden.
What's going on?
Okay. So, Catch a Star Collectibles actually did a bunch of signings. I don't want to say that they're like, Dynamic Forces or something, but that was kind of the idea. Something similar where Ken Golden, the CEO over at Catch a Star Collectibles, and a couple other companies were doing these signings with artists, and they would get a couple thousand copies of a book, and then they would have someone sign it, and then they would have their friend sit there and hand number the book, and that's what, 479 out of 500. And this says, this certificate personally autographed by Dave Hoover and is limited to an edition of 1,500 autographed copies.
The Invaders, issue number 1. A random one to have been sent overseas somehow and then back in Washington State for us to chat about with the comic book community. We appreciate your time today. Use that code TOM101 on Key Collector Comics. It's going to allow you to do what we did just now, right here at this table. Chat about comics, but also learn about them. Get yourself a little bit more familiar with the titles. There are a lot of random key moments that you'll learn beyond just the cameo and the first full appearances.
And even this book, Slav brought back some great books from Russia, and we've got the first appearance of the Hunger in this book, which is spec because of the new Morbius movie.
What is that, Spider-Man 76?
Spider-Man 76, yes. That's the Todd McFarlane run of Spider-Man. So I do use Key Collector app fairly often. It's one of those things that the books are moving so much faster. Everything is being updated on literally a day-to-day basis. I am an Overstreet advisor. I love my Overstreet. Using this for the information is absolutely irreplaceable. But if you're looking for stuff that is moving as fast as the industry does, you got to get yourself the Key Collector app. Thank you so much to Key Collector. Thank you again, Slav, for letting these comics come in. And, Tom and I just had a ton of fun looking through them today. That's a great way to geek responsibly.
Hey, what are you doing here?